Ladies and gentlemen, and all our residents who are watching us online, this is the annual meeting of Weymouth Town Council. It's wonderful to see so many new faces, but that bodes really, really well, I think, for the future of the Town Council. For those of you who are new, very special welcome to all of you. Really hope that you enjoy your time as Weymouth Town Councillors. It's a huge honour, and it can be great fun if you let it be. So have fun as well as work. You will work. Do have fun at the same time, and enjoy yourselves. I just want to say very few words. I hope people their faces won't drop, because you've listened to me very patiently for a whole year now, but you're nearly rid of me. So it's just you're almost at the finishing line. You've done very well. I'd like to make a few thank yous, if I may, please. First of all, I'm almost needless to say, to all of our staff, Parks and Gardens, the beach team, Tumbledown, and everyone in between. It's been a pleasure to work with you and for you, and I'm delighted that I've been returned so that I can continue that contact with you. Specifically, first to Helen Legg, who's been the Mayor's Secretary for the whole of the life of Weymouth Town Council. And I know my predecessors would want to have their thanks to mine for her help and support. Next to Nikki Isles, who took over from Helen at around Christmas time, and she's picked up the ropes with great efficiency. And I do recommend whoever takes my place here turns to Nikki whenever they need advice. She really won't let me down. My next thanks is to Charlotte Lidgley Ryan, known to very many of you as CLR, not to me, because I think that's a mouthful that doesn't drip off the top of my head. Neither the Charlotte Lidgley Ryan, I have to say, but Charlotte. Charlotte took over the event planning at the start of the year, and she really has been a star. Hope you agree that this weekend, Remembrance Day, and the various civic wreath laying and flag raising have all run like clockwork. I dubbed Charlotte the Busby Berkeley of Weymouth Town Council. Now Google it, because now you're all looking at me blankly. Google it, because Charlotte had to Google it, but she was delighted after she had done so. She did a terrific job organising the council's carols on the prom. And I hope that that's set to be an annual event, because it was great fun and it was very well received. Of course, she was ably assisted by the manager, Will Holmes. My thanks to the senior leadership team, Jane Biscombe, our town clerk, Ian Mill, our deputy town clerk, and Charmaine, our assistant town clerk. They've kept me in check when my imagination has run wild, and helped me to do the things that were possible. So thank you for that, and thank you for being such a support to me. And that's all the staff. I need to thank the Reverend Betty Port and Deacon Geoffrey Carey, who served as my mayoral chaplains throughout the year. And thanks too to Betty, who created a beautiful stole which she presented to the town council for the use of mayoral chaplains for future civic service. So it's a specific and beautiful Weymouth Town Council priest stole. So thank you to her. And lastly, our wonderful volunteer groups, charitable organisations, clubs, scouts, guides, brownies. Thank you all of you, for inviting me to join you through the year. Exhibitions, fundraisers, performances, dinners, and so much more. It is you that make Weymouth such a wonderful place to live, to work, and to play. I've had a most terrific year. Thank you for allowing me to be your representative for 2023-24. My best wishes to my successor and whoever escorts, consorts, or whatever the role will be. I hope you have an enjoyable year as I've had. Again, thank you all very much indeed. We now move on to meeting proper. And we start with election of chairman. Could I have a nomination for chairman, please?
Thank you, Chairman. I'd like to nominate Councillor John Oral for the position of Mayor.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Helen Toft. Do I have any other nominations? In the absence of any nominations, could I have a show of hands in favour of Councillor John Oral, please? That is unanimous. Splendid. John, would you like to join me up here for a moment? Yes.
Well.
On all bills and also, so moving on to actually two on the agenda, the election. Do we have any nominations? So, Mary.
Thank you, Chairman. I'd like to make the nomination of Councillor Caroline Nickinson. We were intending to hopefully nominate Councillor Richard Nickinson, but for reasons I won't go into due to simple divorce proceedings. I'm very like to nominate.
Do we have a second? The weather? Do we have any other nominations? No other nominations. So, do we have a show of hands?
And that one is again appears to be unanimous, Chair. Thank you.
Would you like to join me up?
I've got the next. That's just for the social media. Watching.
Back to business, on the aims of photos. Item 3, apologies for absence, do we have any submitted?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, we have apologies received from councillor Harris, who has a prior engagement, and councillor Young, who is unwell.
Yes, I think we've got full house otherwise, which is good. So we have to propose and then vote on these. Do, yeah.
To approve the apologies.
So, who's that? Bell, seconded. So I hope. All those in favour?
That is unanimous, Chair. Thank you.
Next item 4, is of interests. You'll all be doing your full declarations of interest in case any of you don't have time or think of any during the meeting. You can declare it now or during the course of events, if it comes to your mind that you have a conflict, you can always identify it. So, any declarations?
So just to confirm, Chair, we've had not been notified, no dispensations have been sought for this.
Good. Right, then.
Mr. Chair, so I've literally only 10 minutes ago got the email access, so I have yet to get through the declaration form. I had interest with them on pecuniary and to better now. Would you like to see them later on?
Only if they relate to an item on the agenda tonight. That's fine. Thank you. Look forward to seeing them. Item 5, minutes of the last meeting which you all were received. Tony Clark has explained that you didn't have been there to approve them. So. Proposals, that's on whether second. Let's Taylor. All those in favour?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, 14. I think that's unanimous, Chair.
Okay.
A few.
Right, councillors, questions and statements. Do we have any pre-notification?
So no, we have no councillor questions or statements notified.
Good. Next item, 7 town mayors and night announcements. So I haven't got too much to say other than thank you very much for your and being in this position for the next year. It's a great honour. Do my best. In this forum, I'll obviously strive to be completely neutral, and that might have other roles in other fora. But here, hold me to account on that. And to be fair, and if I'm not to do in this town, you've got many things to be proud of. We've just found out we've got the Blue Flag Award and this best speech. So you have to go away occasionally to one of the major cities in the land to come back to Weymouth and remember what a fantastic place we live in. And it falls to us to preserve that because some of the most prominent places, the beaches, the parks, our responsibility so we can keep it beautiful and make it even better. Also mindful that there's challenges. We have the lowest social mobility in the country and with factors in the county, which accept no responsibility as the last doctor. But no, seriously, we have things, we have challenges. So hopefully we can use our influence here on the council to improve the things we can, because even humble things you might like the parks and gardens, it was great opportunities to get people out and outdoors exercising. And it's probably better for their mental health than the station in the last 25 years. So there's many things we can do, and we'll do them even better. Yeah. One of the great things in the last 5 years is that by and large, we did actually work together across parties, and I hope that we're able to do that for the good of our residents in the coming 5 years. So that's the end of my opening statements and announcements. Now we move on to questions. Do we have any lined up?
So no, Chair, there have been no public questions pre-notified.
I will. We have additionally now for this, and it's a guideline to ask a question also. Quietly for about 3 minutes. I won't be too strict if what the point you're making is relevant to the operation of the tank. It's all. So, members of the public. If you can give us your name and ideally use the microphone, but if you can't.
I'm well known as a American with a big mouth, so hopefully everybody will hear me. May I congratulate you on your position. I hope you have an enjoyable year. And I'd like to thank Councillor Taylor as well, who's done a marvellous job during the year. Thank you very much. Mr. Mayor, the subject was brought up 2 or 3 years ago, which has never been acted on in any way as far as I know. i.e. that it's not to be called Weymouth Town Council, but Weymouth and Melcombe Regis Town Council. I think it's very important that Melcombe Regis is put on our name. We go back in history when Queen Elizabeth said that these 2 towns, Weymouth and Melcombe Regis, to stop fighting. And she gave us the honour of putting Regis onto Melcombe. And in 1971, we celebrated the 400 years of Weymouth and Melcombe Regis. There's not too many, a couple of years ago, quite rightly celebrated 450 years of Weymouth and Melcombe Regis. And I fail to see why we're celebrating it, which is quite right. We don't use that name. To me, it's very important. It's part of our history of this town. Obviously, none of us here was here before. They were separate towns. But it's important that we uphold the history of this town, i.e. Weymouth and Melcombe Regis. I'm not suggesting that you say, yes, we'll accept it. We'll do new-headed note paper and we'll do the fans and everything else all in one go. I wouldn't expect that. And that would be rather silly, but review it as it becomes necessary. So, Mr. Mayor, I feel that the excuses which have been put forward is it's too wordy. Well, it was a borough of Weymouth and Melcombe Regis. At one time, that wasn't too wordy. The borough of Weymouth and Portland, that wasn't too wordy. So I see no reason why we can't use that. And this council, Weymouth Town Council, has not in any time that I know of actually stated that you wanted to name it. It was named by the previous councils before this one came into being. So, Mr. Mayor, I'm asking that this would be discussed, and I would ask also that I could be notified so that I could come along, listen to it. And say, it is part of the history of this borough. I love this borough. I was honoured to be mayor back in 1990, that century. And to me, we shouldn't hide our history. We should show it for everybody concerned. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. We'll note that one. I'll talk to the town clerk later about how we take that forward. I have some sympathy with that because I do, my ward is Melcombe Regis. So there is much to celebrate about Melcombe Regis and its historic associations, not least the arrival of the Black Death. So we will.
Forget to say my name is, which is Peter Randall, I'm reorderman.
Oh, thank you, Alderman Renewal. Do we have any other? Town clerk would like to comment on that.
Thank you. If I could just bring a little clarity for members, I'm just looking for the dates. So on the 14th of May 2019, the name of the council was discussed in a full council meeting. In fact, it was proposed by Councillor Kate Weller, requested that officers investigate changing the names away with the Melcombe Regis Town Council. But following a vote of members present, the proposal was carried to continue with the title of Weymouth Town Council. I'd be more than happy to prepare a report into the not insignificant costs of changing the council name, which of course would entail a community governance review from Dorset Council to achieve. I'm more than happy to prepare a report, Chair.
Thank you, Town Clerk. Much to consider. Keen that the council is available to the public, so that are there any other members of the public to speak?
Yeah, clarify on some things. When I come last time, relay 3 minute speech, are we going to do the same as George, as you rightly said, or put in notice about the thing we're going to talk about?
No, we'll let you speak this far. We don't put it in.
It's 20 years now, so
I'm getting ready to press start.
no, that's it. That's all I wanted to know.
Thank you, Mr. Fox. We look forward to hearing from you on future occasions. Good. Item, we were anticipating one of our ex-councillors was going to speak. I can't see him in the chamber. Yeah. We move on to item 9, election of leader. So, on to the recommendation. Select a leader, 24-25. So, do we have any nominations? That's up.
First of all, congratulations on your appointment. I would like to nominate Councillor David Harris to continue the role of leader. I do have his blessings for this nomination, obviously in his absence. Those that have worked with David in the previous 5 years and on councils prior to that know how well he embraced this role, promoted cross-party working and represented our council at multiple areas extremely well. So I'm hoping that I will have a second of this nomination and that the council will support Sir David Harris to continue this role.
Yes. Do you wish to speak or just a second? Thank you. So do we have any other nominations for leader? Move to.
Yes.
Yeah. So all those in favour
Eighteen, 94,
Or against?
1, 2,
Any abstentions?
and done. That's the only two public votes. We're missing a couple of votes, but it is in favour.
So, Councillor Harris duly elected as the leader. Now, item 10, election of deputy leader. Do we have any nominations? Silence. So this will be a deputy for David Harris.
Leave this vacant.
I'm advised by the town clerk that we can leave this office. Proposals. Right now, we've got item 11, nominations to committees. And town clerk, who's done a lot of work on the applications and walk us through the process. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Councillors, a list of nominations to committees has been tabled tonight and is displayed on the screen behind me. There are also copies, I think, available to the public as well. Because the membership of Finance and Governance Committee rests on the chairs of Environment and Services and HR, there is a need to take certain steps in order to get through this item logically to ensure that all required decisions have been taken in the correct order. For clarity, the election of those committee chairs tonight is only indicative, as this full council meeting cannot contain a legal meeting of those committees to determine the chair. So the chairs indicated tonight will be confirmed at the first meeting of their respective committees. You will notice that all committees bar the HR committee are currently carrying vacancies. If there are any nominations from those parties to those vacant seats, I'd be very grateful, Chair, if I'd be able to add those in today. Councillors are asked to consider the need to ensure committees are fully allocated in order to support effective decision making when considering the committee allocations. The Mayor has a list of decisions required in order and will take you through those one by one. Thank you.
Councillor Valley,
Yes, Councillor Thomas Taylor would like to fill that second post on Environment and Services, please.
Councillor O'Leary.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, Councillor Brian Hayes was happy to fill the seat on planning and licensing.
Councillor O'Leary.
Is that being held open? Mr. Mayor, just to advise on that vacancy that is allocated to the Liberal Democrats on planning and licensing, the leader of Liberal Democrats has requested that that is held over as a vacancy until he can determine with all of his party when they return on the allocation of that seat to a Liberal Democrat. Which is a Labour seat.
Is there anyone filling the Labour seat on appeals?
In the interest of efficiency, I'll take that seat.
Thank you, Councillor Bullock. Subs.
So
Now we need to, having established that list, now we need to or reject it in its entirety. So could we have a proposer to agree this list? Councillor Bell proposes, Councillor Leary seconds. All in favour?
That is unanimous.
Now, a bit of playing musical chairs now. So I, each committee that now nominates their dean chair, which will be confirmed at their first meetings. See this done in the past, it's more clear, the members of the Environment and Services, that you all know who you are. If you all, they're all. From among your group then, can you do, who's a chair?
Can I please nominate councillor Mapping?
Seconded by councillor Leary. Matt, councillor Bell, are you willing to accept the nomination?
Yep.
Small, stand up. Do you have any other nominations for chair? So you're, this committee, would you all like to indicate your approval? Yeah, this is unanimous. That's it.
I'm happy to confirm that Councillor Bell is entitled to sit in finance and governance and is already to governance, which makes it.
Okay, that's it, thank you. Next is we've got HR committee. My list, so HR, so we all stand up. So, do you have someone for chair? Oh, this is the day.
I'd like to propose councillor Harris.
Okay, do we have a second? So, any other proposals for chair? No, okay, all those who approve? Yes. Great, thank you, Amelia Mason, thank you very much. Next is.
Excuse me,
Yes.
Mr. Jones, I'm sorry to interrupt. We know that councillor Harris is happy to take the chair of the committee. It indicates to me a second.
Next, we move to the planning and licensing. So all those on planning and licensing next. So. Relations to chair. I'll propose if I could. Mr. Dickinson. Yeah, assuming he's willing.
Yes, voted.
And probably not.
No.
Any seconders for councillor Dickinson? Thank you. Any other proposals for the chair? Okay, all those in favour?
Thank you.
And
Yes.
right, finally, appeals, always on appeals. And yeah, so, and any proposals for chair?
Give up this this evening, sorry, Chair. Can I nominate councillor Clifford, please?
Seconders?
Second.
Myself.
Who's up? Willing to stand?
Yeah, that's it.
Any other proposals for chair? Or approval? Unanimous, lovely, thank you very much, you may sit. To clarify the arrangements.
Thank you, Chair. So following those nominations, particularly to the Chair of Environment Services and HR, we come to the situation above. Now, it is a requirement that the chairs of both those committees sit on finance and governance. And within the indications I've been given on people to fill the various seats, we have a slight issue to resolve in that Councillor Harris is Chair of HR, but currently isn't slated for finance and governance. There are two options open. Councillor Harris could take the vacant seat being held by the Labour Party, or the Liberal Democrats could swap in a name there.
So, any thoughts?
Yeah, obviously councillor Bell needs to remain.
Yes.
Who says that needs to be an option. Is it possible? Councillor Taylor? Sorry, Chair.
Councillor Taylor.
Thank you, Chair. Could I ask the Labour Party, or the leader of the Labour Party, if they're willing to give the vacant seat to councillor Harris, please?
At the moment, I'd like to hang on to that vacancy. I've got, within my group, 3 inexperienced councillors. And I'm hoping that very soon, they're going to be not just walking, but running, and skipping and jumping. And then there will be a great contribution to the Finance and Governance, Committee.
For nominations.
Please remove councillor Simon Clifford from finance and governance and replace him with councillor Davies.
It was as long, just need to check everybody on the list and committee to meet standard. With that, acceptable and same with respect to, so.
Right, so it's either you meet some of our standing orders. So we need the Finance and Governance Committee. So what's to stand, those that can stand, stand. So
But yeah, if it's agree the list,
Yeah.
then there'll be enough chair.
the
So we need to propose from full council, for this, the full council can vote on and make it.
Okay, it's okay. Full councillors to agree this list first, and then. So first, we're gonna. Full council to. Propose and second this list, and do have a proposer. Mr. Bell, seconded councillor Taylor. All those in favour?
That is unanimous, Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you, councillors. Right, now. Finance and Governance Committee, one you to please, and then. The nomination. Councillor Taylor.
Can I please nominate councillor Sybil, please?
Good. Any other nominations? No. In that case, all those in favour on the committee?
Looks unanimous.
Okay, we have, Chair, you may accept you for indulging me with that. Right, now we move on, item 12, champions. British champion role, you've got to outline which was these and what.
If I can find all the right bits of paper. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm not sure what's wrong with the microphones. They appear to be somewhat possessed tonight, but we will get those checked for the next meeting. The council and its committees are able to set up, oh, no, that's completely the wrong item. I've moved on to the next one. So with the champion roles, the council can determine whichever champions it feels best fits the direction of its work and its priorities. As the council isn't having its priority setting workshop until the 20th of July, it may be prudent to hold off on some of the champion roles until councillors formulate their ideas of priorities. In the past, we have had a community champion, an armed forces covenant champion, a sports and activities champion, and a rights of way champion. Now, the rights of way champion is slightly different. It is an official officer liaison role with Dorset Council. Use of the word officer there is slightly misleading because it is a councillor. And previously, the community champion has been Councillor Jill Taylor. The Armed Forces Covenant champion was former Councillor Christine James. Sports and activities champion, somewhat ironically, is Councillor Matt Bell, and the rights of way champion has been David Northern. So the council is asked to agree which champions positions it would like to have in 24-25 and agree which councillors it would like to carry out those roles. Any decisions tonight is not completely binding on the council, and you can vary and add to your list of champions as the year goes on. The only one that I would say is a real requirement for the council at this time is the Armed Forces Covenant champion, because that enables us to ensure that our responsibilities under the Armed Forces Covenant are met. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Dave Clark. So then an outline of the roles that's existed for the last years. There's two stages to this. First, we've got to agree whether we carry on these 4 roles. Do we take any away? Do we add them? So that's the first decision. So I'll throw it open to the floor. On whether.
I propose that we accept the existing champions, and we can discuss the year goes on. But we accept those and see who would like to step forward to fulfill them.
Do we have a second of Councillor Weber? Dickinson, thank you. I saw Councillor Norman's hand.
I was going to speak on a specific role, which, as the town clerk has pointed out, is different to these champion roles. I would want to vote individually on this rather than on block. So I would not support the motion by Councillor.
So we have those. Councillor Berman.
Chair, just side off to Councillor's request, we could defer this to finance and governance. I think the roles aren't specified enough. We don't have enough information on what those duties are of those roles at this time. And yeah, let's see if we can get deferred to finance and governance for further discussion.
Right, so this is our first vote coming up then. So we have a proposal which has been seconded that we carry on these 4 roles. So we see if that passes, and then if it fails, we'll pick up the other ideas. So all those in favour of the motion that these 4 roles carry on?
1. I can have a clear indication, please. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21.
All those against?
2.
Motion is carried. So, no abstentions, any abstentions?
Any abstentions?
No.
Matters slightly on.
So the motion was carried. So we have these 4 roles. Now which councillors would like to be nominated for those roles? Yeah, you may nominate yourselves if you like, rather than, so nominations, please. I saw Councillor Norman's hand, but
Thank you. Yeah, I'd like to nominate Tim Young for the position of rights of way liaison officer. Both Matt Bell and I have done this role previously, and it was working with Dave Ackley, the Dorset Ranger. And if other councillors wish to join the team, also do this role, Dave Ackley has indicated that he's happy to have more than one rights of way liaison.
Stick on rights of way. Any other people nominate themselves or nominate someone else for rights of way? So do that one first.
Can I second Tim Young, please?
Okay. Yeah, any other names in that rights of way?
He is willing to do it. Yeah.
Okay. No other names. Is that one? All those in favour?
Here's unanimous, Chair, thank you.
Thank you. Let's get the order more logical. Let's go for community champion. Councillor Taylor, then Councillor O'Leary, Councillor Taylor.
Could I make a proposal, please, that I've been the community champion for the last few years, but what I have found is that this post and the other roles are not really clearly defined. Would it be appropriate for these 3 roles to be sent to finance and governance, so that the governance working group have a look at them and actually define what the roles are?
We just voted on. Yeah, we took a vote to nominate on. Title. If we could proceed with nominating for now, but the town clerk will. To governance, so we can review them.
Okay,
Is that satisfactory?
yes, it is. Thank you very much.
Councillor O'Leary.
Chairman, thank you. I'd like to nominate Councillor Claire Williams for community champion. She has a long record in both voluntary and charity groups.
Also, okay, yeah. Any other nominations for community champion?
I'd like to nominate Councillor Taylor, who's done a fine job in the role previously.
Do we have a second? Mr. Day. We're willing to carry on? No? Right, so we've got 2 nominations. In that case, we'll go to the.
Councillor Williams and then Michelle. Each member can only vote.
Yes, you hear that? You can hear it. So, first of all, Councillor, all those in favour of Councillor Williams?
I've done clear indication to help me count, please. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Thank you. All those for Councillor Taylor?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12,
Abstentions?
2. So that's
That's
in position committee.
good. Next one is Armed Forces Government Champion. Do not. And there, quick. Councillor O'Leary, you're quick off the mark.
Thank you, Chairman. I'd like to nominate Councillor Joanna Dickinson. She has a son serving in the armed forces, and she has a proud track record of supporting veterans.
Do we have a second? Councillor Dickens. Are you ready? Any other proposals?
Did you? I don't know. I was going to propose to
Right, so that's the wrong name in the hat. So all those who approve.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 22.
Abstentions. Thank you. So that's round. And finally, sports and activities.
Will be decided by the votes.
Yes. So, we have also sports activities.
Oh.
No, you really propose yourself. Okay, Councillor Webb.
Councillor Thomas Taylor.
Any second, Thomas? So there is seconds. Are you willing to stand?
Yes, Chair.
Thank you. Do we have any other nominations? All those in favour?
Twenty-one.
All those against? Abstentions? Thank you. Congratulations, the successful champions. What are your activities in the coming years? We're making great progress. Nominations to outside bodies. Would you like to talk about this one?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, not much to say about this one. You have up on the screen and on your agendas, councillors, the 5 organisations who look to us to nominate a councillor to sit on their board and to be involved in their work. I have put in brackets after the name of each of them how many councillors are required. And Chair, I would suggest that each one is taken in turn as a separate vote for clarity. And I'm happy to answer any questions on the responsibilities of those as much as I can.
Right, let's take them one at a time. So we go through them if you'd like clarification on the role before nominating someone or yourself. Good, so we go for DAPTC, so that's the link. The supporting organisation. So do we have nominations? Councillor Bell.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Harris, who's aware that he's been nominated for this position in his role as leader. I think it makes sense for him to represent us.
We have a second. Councillor O'Leary, thank you. Any other?
There are 2 seats plus a deputy.
So 2 seats. Do we have them? Mr. Weller,
May I nominate myself?
you may. No, would like to second Mr. Weller, Councillor Taylor.
It says no deputy and 2 slots. And obviously when you get a deputy, I'll stand down if they badly want to do it instead.
It's fine. So we've got 2, so that's grand. So let's go to all those in favor.
That is unanimous, Chair.
Thank you. Next, Harbour Consultant. So Leary.
Chairman, I'd like to nominate Councillor Kate Weller, please.
Second, Councillor Taylor. Councillor Weller, are you willing? Any other nominations? No. In that case, we move to a vote. All those in favour?
Is unanimous, Chair.
I just would like to also just reassure our new councillors that most things wouldn't be like this. This is a rather unique meeting where we had several committees. It will be much more free for that. Interesting. So not this is interesting. The agenda. Noel Wayman Award. Now this is one I have done in the past year. This does make sense as a sense of whether there were a few occasions when it would have been more useful to have someone that was on in the environmental services or finance and governance. So I'm going to step back to see if anyone else would like to take this opportunity. Do we have any other people like to stand in case? In that case,
If you don't wish to stand, I'll stand as the other Malcolm Regis stand.
okay, that makes sense.
I'll second that.
Okay. Thank you very much. What's sensible, especially I'm going to be a little bit busier in the coming year.
Surely not.
Any other This is no, and move to a vote. All those in favour?
That is unanimous, Chair.
Good. Thank you very much. JRE Charity Board. One from, there's two positions here. Do you want to speak about this one is a bit more specific. It's the serve the boards.
This is one councillor from Wyke North. And Chair, I believe you have a list of, I haven't quite learned everybody's wards yet. So Wyke North is, unless anybody wants to wave their hands at me furiously. Councillor Weller and Councillor Nickinson, and then one from Rodwell, which is Councillor Williams and Councillor Surrey.
Right, so if you'd like to make eye contact with your neighbour and look at who would like to stand.
I'd like to propose Councillor Webb. Councillor
Stupid move. Right.
Councillor Weller was about to nominate Councillor Nickinson. Sorry,
Councillor Williams.
Williams, I'm sorry, Claire. Only because these properties are your end of the ward, and I think it would be more appropriate.
No, I would like to.
Okay. I don't think it's the end of the world if we sort that out at a later point, actually. Mr. Mayor.
I'll just talk to. Was a moment, I'll just.
I know the charity reasonably well, but
Yes.
yeah, they are the ones who are nominated.
Yes, I used to serve on this one myself. Well, it's not too obvious, it's
Mr Mayor,
James has given at Rodwell one.
thanks to you, Councillor Williams. If we need someone. Like,
I know Councillor Webb.
So, Councillor Weller.
It's a little bit difficult because I do know a number of residents in these properties, and that puts me in an awkward position, but,
If there are no other nominations, Rodwell, apart from Councillor Williams, if we could vote on that and then I can contact KRA and ask them if they wish to proceed. Yes.
So, Councillor Williams, thank you for stand, agree to stand. All those in favour?
That is unanimous.
The town clerk is going to contact the charity and express our position and see. You. Item 14, looking at the working groups and membership.
No, that's just-
Well, it's the Western support.
There's nothing in there that says it has to be, but it does in a definite sense that it's something.
Have you heard that? Ideally, Western councillor, but it doesn't have to be councillor.
thank you very much, Mr Mayor. Can I please nominate my ex-ward colleague, now gone on to the west side, residing in the mighty Western East, Councillor Vernon.
Are you happy to accept that nomination? Oh, yes, please. Any other proposals? We move to a vote. All those in favour?
That is unanimous, Chair, thank you.
Good to hear.
I'll be informing the charities and the body meetings.
Yes. Item 14, this is about working groups and membership. There are actually many working groups, but a lot of them appear for a short period and then disappear. So I'm going to call the town clerk to explain this, and then we'll need to fill out two.
Thank you, Chair. The council and its committees are able to set up working groups to increase efficiency and progression of projects and services. Working groups do not have any delegated powers. They have no decision, delegated decision. making and hold no budgets. I have put a list in there of some of the working groups that the councillors had before. You will notice that my favourite working group that I spoke to you about a lot at the induction, the public toilet working group, is not included there. Some of them are more task and finish groups, but these are some of the key ones we have had in the past and may be looking at in the future. The only working groups that currently have active work streams are the CEE, the Climate and Ecological Emergency Working Group, and the Neighbourhood Plan Working Group. I would suggest that the council focuses on nominations to these tonight and to allow the committees to set up additional working groups as and when the need arises. Just a little outline of those two working groups, if I may, Chair. The Weymouth Neighbourhood Plan Steering Group comprises of up to 7 residents and also 4 councillors. The 4 councillors are nominated at this annual meeting, and the non-councillor members of the steering group have requested that there is representation from across parties to enable them to get a good input from across the spectrum of views of the council. The steering group meets monthly to progress the plan, with members also forming short task and finish groups. The steering group elect their chair and deputy, who work with officers from the council on producing the neighbourhood plan. And the plan reflects the views of residents and businesses, supported by analysis and studies on the future need, and it will form part of the development plan that all development in Weymouth must abide by. Clearly, there's a need to support the wide range of engagement and consultation that has taken place as well. The Weymouth Neighbourhood Plan has nearly completed stage 2 formulation of the plan. The Regulation 14 consultation was completed in December 23. Much of the analysis is complete, but there's still some clarification required from Dorset Council. Obviously, there's a little bit of a hiatus while the elections took place, but sure what's going on here tonight. I'm clearly speaking for far too long, so I'll speed up. Oh, it's gone again. So there's still lots of work to be carried out. There'll be discussions coming up with statutory consultees and the landowners of sites to be allocated, and the steering group will be deciding what amendments to be made to the draft plan that was agreed by this council to reflect the consultation. That will then lead to a final draft that will come back to this full council meeting for endorsement. The neighbourhood plan will then be updated with any amendments, and that will complete stage 2. The neighbourhood plan and supporting papers are then passed to Dorset Council, who will conduct a further consultation, which is known as Regulation 16. I'm never very clear on what happens at Regulation 15, and then that will be submitted to the examiner, who then advises of any changes that they require. And then that revised plan is subject to a full referendum of all Weymouth residents who are registered to vote. So there's we're into the statutory process now. A lot of the consultations and the sort of the hard formulation has already been carried out. And it is hoped that this process will conclude this financial year. A little bit of outline on the neighbourhood plan there. And just on the Climate and Ecological Emergency Working Group, known within the council as CEE. This working group is purely internal. It's just made up of councillors, and this group can have as many councillors as wish to join it. The group reports to the Environment and Services Committee, and that committee also approves the work plans and expenditure of the working group. As I said, no working groups have delegated decision-making or budgets. Current work streams include the setting up and promotion to the public of a possible solar streets project in Weymouth to facilitate a scheme where residents can benefit from reduced prices for installing solar PV on their houses. This engagement events are going to take place over 2 evenings with Wessex Eco Energy, who are now part of Good Energy, who will be explaining how the scheme will work, all the equipment and the costs associated. And if there's enough interest in the scheme, the company will offer a discount to the homeowner to install the systems. Just to note that the council will only be acting as a facilitator, and each homeowner will enter into a personal agreement with the company completely separate to the council. The group are also looking at the next Love Your Weymouth Festival and see how that can improve. You may be aware of the Love Your Weymouth CE Festival that took place on the 13th of February. Took place in this chamber, incredibly well supported by the community, with over 120 people attending. The group are also engaging with local schools to see how the council can work with and encourage and support schools to get involved in the climate work for the town. And officers are also looking into the free water points along the promenade and assessing and reviewing the best way to upgrade them to make them more efficient and better used for drinking water. And this may involve removing some, but making the remaining ones more attractive and easier to use. And this is going to help promote reusable bottle use and allow the council to collect usage statistics, which can then be promoted across the year to show work on reducing single-use plastics. So as a whistle-stop tour of the two key groups that it will be helpful to allocate to tonight, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan Clark. I think that hasn't put me off. So, Councillor Bell. Sorry,
So, wasn't sure if that's the right part of the moment.
sorry, I got mixed up.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I'm slightly disappointed to see that the youth working group's been missed off this agenda. It's been instrumental in setting up our youth council, which have been really pushing forward with some good ideas and making representation at this council about the thoughts of younger people on some of the decisions we've made. So I'm really hoping that we can really add the youth working group onto this list so that we can continue to support our youth council and mentor them, make sure they continue to grow, because hopefully they'll be the next generation sat in this chamber.
My apologies if there is a youth working group. It wasn't my understanding that the youth working group was still meeting because the youth council had now been set up. But I am aware that certain councillors do attend youth council regularly to support the young people. That in itself is not a working group. If there is a need for a separate meeting of those councillors, then I would suggest that that doesn't necessarily need to be a working group unless there are other work streams that have been agreed by committee for progression. But if there are no youth work streams agreed, then I would suggest that Environment and Services or F&G, whoever's most appropriate, look at setting up a youth working group when those work streams are approved.
Alternatively, we could reach that's actually this section of the agenda is to agree with working groups, so we could reinstate the youth group and
I do get back to my previous comment, Chair, if I can, and that is, I don't recall it ever being finished, and I know that Councillor Berman's got some projects he's been working with the youth council on, which is actually more council-based led, and it's important these works can continue, so I would like to add within the recommendations that the youth working group is one of those that we do want to this evening.
okay, so that's a proposal. We have a seconder for that, for the councillor Furman. Okay, just call some other councillors Sewell. Sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted to point from clarity. The town clerk said that the public toilet working group was not in existence. Was that a joke or?
No, not currently because there are no active work streams, but it could be set up again by Environment and Services if there are work streams left to conclude.
It's vacant.
Okay. So let's agree we may start then.
Apparently, I'm being informed that it is still active. Unfortunately, we didn't have that information in time for the agenda, so we can add that onto the list as well.
We can add to these groups, so we've got councillor Jill Taylor. Any other people wish to speak? We've had some proposal to the youth group back. And I think the toilets, we have a second of the idea of the toilets group. Is that councillor Thompson? Right, so we've got 4 groups. Councillor Weller.
I'd like to suggest that we approve the CE and the neighbourhood planning, and then as things shake down in the next month or so, we can get members onto those other working groups, because people will get embedded and they'll know what they're doing and they'll know what their workload is like, and they'll have a better idea of what these things encompass. But those two, we don't want a gap in work on those two groups to continue. I don't know if I have a second of that person.
I'd like to say
That's normal. So if we separate this out and get some votes so we can get some clarity. So if we take original recommendation of the CEE working group and the neighbour plan. Let's just get that established first, then we'll go to just a separate of the other groups that. So. Please, that's a proposal, and it's my second. So we're moving to vote to approve those two, so that's the CEE and the plan groups, all those in favour.
That is unanimous, Chair.
Right, now we can go back to, we had a proposal to re-establish the youth working group, which was just seconded. Well, you proposed it, and seconded it, so that's on the table.
I'm terribly sorry, so what I was suggesting was that we'll do those two, which are the important ones. And we can then sort out the others as we move on, rather than do all of those others now, because people don't know what's involved, they don't, you know, they can see, they can go home and see just exactly what they've committed themselves to and what more they're able to commit themselves to.
Then I can.
You may be coming to this, but I think what is before us is we're only approving the members of those two top groups, A and B, if you want to call it those. All we're doing is putting youth and toilets in with the rest. We're not appointing members to any of the other working groups, are we? So Councillor Weller's point is made with that. We're just doing the groups. These are the only two that we're approving members for tonight.
Let's just check with council. Please, happy with that, what would you like to move to?
What we can do is put those other working groups on their respective committees. Then there's a determination.
Councillor Lucan, is that?
We have to leave out the groups, it'd be good to have a lead member.
I wasn't going to talk, there is one area is a must that should continue based on the 5% of the council's income is based on income generation. Some great success stories out of the income generation working group. We're going to see some yet, but I don't know about to. You know, quarter of our budget is from income generation. We cannot take, but our competitiveness, we must continue to work. And therefore, I really must stress that you get to another working group that should continue under this irritation of the council.
Yes, if I can respond on the chair, that does make sense, but would it be appropriate for that group to be formed from the finance and governance? The first meeting of the finance and governance.
Yeah, I can respond to it. I don't mind if their group is appointed by finance and governance, but I want this council to set the direction in the working groups and the work streams that council should be taking. And I also want to ensure that every member in this chamber knows the working groups that are going on so that can apply, because the working groups aren't restricted to the committees that oversee their work. So any member of council can join any of these committees whether or not they're on. That's working groups where we're on the committees. So I think it's important that we try and come up with a list now to at least start the work of this council. This list can be changed throughout the initiation of the year or 5 years. But I think these are really important ones that must continue.
Councillor Taylor.
Can I just propose something along the same sort of lines? That we've got quite a few new councillors here, and people are looking just at names. Would it be possible to have a briefing note from officers as to what each of these are, time commitments and that sort of thing? Because to just put your name down for something that's you don't know what work is involved is really difficult if you are a new councillor. And then we could bring them to F&G and onto the next one council for approval, if required.
Hand over to the town clerk to respond.
Thank you, Chair. I'm more than happy to prepare reports for the next Environment and Services agenda and the next Finance and Governance agenda on suggested working groups, and then that can pass through those committees back to full council.
Right, so in that way we could restart all these various groups, the youth group, the toilets group, the income generation group, and any others that are necessary, but then be established, and people would have time to know what they are and volunteer appropriately. David Northern.
Little confused. I think it's important that we establish the.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Councillor, are you happy with the proposal from the town clerk to prepare the report?
I would be happy, but I'd be more happy if we could just take a vote on these ones now, because I get a feeling in the room, it's a definite direction the council should be taking.
Okay, propose these three groups be re-established, seconder. All those in favour?
Is unanimous.
Let's get to, like, 14, to agreeing the membership of the CEE working group. This one can be self-nomination. It's an open group, there is no limit. So who would like to join the CEE group? Councillor Fife, Councillor O'Leary. Councillor Brown, Councillor Holdsworth, Councillor Brown.
Mine's fine, isn't it?
Councillor Northern.
Please.
Spell check. Spell check.
Rolls in London now.
And you're voting house for that? That's another name. Councillor Barrett. Yeah, she's on the list.
Good, that's it.
Could you read back the list, please?
The list is on the wall, but I'm happy to read it if it's difficult to read.
Yes, in the absence of councillor Harris, can I please put his name forward, as requested?
Yes, he's been a regular member in the past, that would be great. This is a very open group, and if other people, as the sort of proceeds, would like to dip in and out of this group, I'm sure they'd be good.
So just vote on that.
Anyone like to propose that list for us? Councillor Bell.
Councillor Siddle.
So all those in favour?
And that is unanimous, Chair.
Okay. Now, nominations for the neighbourhood plan working group. This one is more, it's 4 members, so nominations of Councillor Weller.
Nominate Councillor Atkinson.
Good. And then second is, okay, I'll touch on the second of Councillor Atkinson, yeah. Thank you. Just civil.
Councillor Thomas Taylor. Yes.
Sorry, could I nominate Councillor Northern?
Councillor Northern is second of that. Councillor Bell. Anyone? Yeah. Councillor Tom. Second, Northern, thank you. That's 3 so far. Anyone else like to be proposed or self-nominated? Brilliant. Councillor Northern.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Siddle.
Do you have a second there, but Councillor Civil, is that second?
No, it wasn't. It was, just to highlight that there was a suggestion that we should have somebody from each party.
I withdraw my nomination.
Yes. Councillor O'Leary.
Yes, as the group leader for the Conservative group, due to previous issues, that the neighbourhood plan was affected. Agreed by the Conservative, neighbourhood plan. We will support those who've gone forward, but we personally will.
Thank you, councillor Leary, councillor Jill Taylor.
Could I just point out that the neighbourhood working plan is for the whole of Weymouth, not just for Preston? And there are probably parts within my ward that I disagree with, but I'd rather know that members of my group and members who are very competent councillors are sat at the table working on it. And I think we owe it to the voluntary group who have spent so much time and so much effort on this, that we go to as many lengths as possible to have cross-party working on this and just prove that we agree with cross-party working. Therefore, could I please plea with the Conservative group to put forward a nomination?
Councillor Leary.
Thank you. As I've explained, and I'm not going to go into detail here today because there's a long history of the neighbourhood plan. My opinion stands. If any of my group wish to put names forward, and that's completely up to them. I personally will be going on that.
Thank you, councillor Leary. Most people, but the offer is there. So we have 3 names so far. Councillor Norton.
I'd like to not propose anything, and leave it open, and hope that somebody else comes forward in due course. I will take this will go to the steering group who are meeting on Monday the 20th. We'll report the situation and see what the steering group request from the council.
That's what the council does then.
Okay. So we have 3 names. We move to vote. All those in favour?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 19, 20, 21.
All those against?
1.
Abstentions?
1.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Carried. Next, moving on to general competence. I think we're all generally competent, but that has a more specific meaning. That's
It does. Thank you, Chair. So the General Power of Competency is enshrined in the Localism Act 2011. It's one of the most important pieces of legislation available to town and parish councils. It gives councils the power to do anything that individuals generally may do within the law. I have to be quite specific that it still has to be lawful. GPC is available to town and parish councils that meet 2 eligibility criteria. And these are that at the time the council resolves that it meets the criteria, the number rounded up of councillors elected at the last ordinary election is at least 2/3, and that the town clerk must hold at least one of the sector-specific qualifications. For Weymouth Town Council, we meet both those requirements. I hold the certificate of local council administration, and you are all elected, so we are at 100%.
Silence, please. Thank you.
I have included in the report some of the risks and restrictions limiting the GPC, but I'm not going to go through this. I know you will all have read this. And this is just to say that the general power of competence makes your life as councillors, our life as officers, so much easier, because it greatly enhances and increases what we can achieve as a council. It means we don't have to go looking for the specific power to run public toilets or the specific power to look after a beach. General power of competency means we can just focus on what needs to be done in the town. Thank you, Chair.
And we have to agree it at the start of each new council. Councillor.
Thank you very much, Chair. Can I propose that we take A and B as written in the paper?
Do we have a second? Councillor Weller. Anyone like to speak to this item? We move to the vote. All those in favour?
That is unanimous. Thank you. A deep sigh of relief.
This is the stage of the meeting you put anything controversial was it on. Next is, item 16, agreeing the conflicts of interests or confirm there aren't any conflicts of interests, appointing our external auditors. Ian Millwood. Yeah. Would you like to address this item?
Not here to wait here in the corner. It's one of these things which town and parishes have to do every year, Chair, is just to confirm that there's no conflict of interest with our external auditors who are appointed by a company or a chap. Yes, SAAA, very difficult to say quickly. Town clerk and myself have confirmed that the town council's body hasn't any conflicts of interest, but we are required to ask if any councils have any conflicts of interest with BDO Limited, who are our external auditors. If there isn't, Chair, then we just ask that council approves if we sign a conflict of interest forms to that effect.
Right, 2 stages there. Anyone know of any interests? Yes, anyone like to propose this? Mr. Weller. Mr. O'Leary, seconding. Moving to a vote, all those in favour?
I think that's unanimous.
Item 17, we have to recommended that we reapprove some of our key policies. This is the time part, why this is necessary.
Thank you. Councillors. This item is just to confirm our existing policies. It ensures that everybody has a clear understanding of our underpinning key policies, and it does just update a couple of them. The project policy has just had a few points of clarification. There's no material changes in it whatsoever. Completely unchanged in principle, and the dispensations policy contains a blanket dispensation that we have revised the date to May 2029, and this gives a dispensation for all councillors who sit on the Planning and Licensing Advisory Committee to make comment on those applications that are put forward in the council's name.
Good, so this is all these policies. As you can see, the policy on conducting meetings ensures that we behave in an orderly manner. So, anyone would like to speak to this item? What more can we have a that's in there? Is by Councillor Weller, seconded by Councillor Northern. All those in favour?
That is unanimous.
Thank you, councillors. No, okay, item 18, councillor allowances. The recommendation from officers is that members agree an annual council allowance for 24-25 of £4,000 per year. Which is not raising it in effect. So, debate this one, or who's in second? Person. Yeah. Second. Is that seconding, Councillor Leary? Yeah. All those in favour?
That is unanimous. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. On the home straight. Item 19.
Chair, can I declare that possibly could be an interest following tomorrow's Dorset Council meeting, so I will leave the meeting for item 19.
Thank you. So back to item 19, agriculture. There's a recommendation that the instructor officers to receive the file application. So you'll have seen the report, but would anyone like to debate this one? The town clerk would like to talk.
Thank you. The town clerk would always like to talk, but it's very kind of you to allow me to do this item, Chair. So, councillors who were councillors with the previous council, those of you who are new, who took a particularly keen interest in what we were up to, will recall an item on the previous full council agenda where you instructed officers to prepare and submit an expression of interest for Weymouth and Portland. So we worked jointly with Portland Town Council to submit an expression of interest to be the County of Culture capital in Dorset for 2025. And I'm absolutely delighted to let you know that we have been selected along with one other town council. We haven't quite worked out who it is yet, but I am working on that, to submit a full application. We do require council approval to continue with that, and Portland Town Council are taking a similar item to their full council meeting tonight. There is some implication on funding should we be successful. It's anticipated that the cost of putting on such an event or a series of events programme will be in the region of £200,000, of which £30,000 will come from Dorset Council. The lead town council, which in effect is Weymouth and Portland together, will need to match fund £15,000 each to match Dorset Council's 30, and the rest will come from grants and other income generated and brought in. I remain very positive around this, very optimistic and absolutely confident that working together with Portland Town Council, Dorset Council and our wonderful artistic and community organisations, we can deliver an absolutely cracking programme in 2025 to really develop the arts heritage scene within Weymouth and Portland. The deadline was incredibly tight. We were asked to prepare our final application for the 24th of May. Considering I couldn't get this before you before the 15th of May, Matthew Ryan, Town Clerk at Portland, and myself have been successful in negotiating an extension to the 24th of June. We've already started to plan the work in case we are given the go-ahead tonight, to include community consultation and co-design and co-authorship sessions with lead organisations and other groups in both Portland and Weymouth. So we are absolutely poised to hit the go button should we be given the green light tonight. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Town Clerk. Councillor Weller.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I'd strongly like to recommend this to fellow councillors. Great opportunity to enhance the well-being of our residents, great opportunity to enhance our reputation both county and countrywide. And in every respect, I can see no reason at all why we wouldn't go for it. We already know we live in a better place than the world. Let's make sure everybody else knows this as well.
And Town Clerk.
Sorry, an extra piece of information I wanted councillors to consider was, should the unthinkable happen and Portland Town Council decide not to continue with this application tonight, it would be good if I could get a steer, if you'd be happy for us to go it alone and still pursue it. Obviously, that would entail a greater financial input from Weymouth, but I glance over at our RFO and we are both confident that it can, expenditure can be met from the positive variance from the accounts this year. So it's just to make you aware of that. I wouldn't want, should Portland Town Council decide they're not going to continue, for us to have a further delay.
So that's a proposal, was it? Councillor Weller.
It's a proposal from me. It's also a proposal that in the event that we would be doing it alone, I believe we should.
It's a law.
I'd be disappointed. It's a real opportunity to work with Portland together. Portland is difficult to get to without going to Plymouth. Still feel very close to Portland. I really like, if there is any hesitation from Portland Town Council, to go back to them and to say, what is it that's breaking you?
I'm sorry if I gave the impression that there may be an issue there. Portland Town Council remain as enthusiastic as we do around this marvellous opportunity for the two towns to work together and really deliver a brand spanking new programme of arts and culture for both towns. But just in case, because one can never prejudge a councillor decision wherever you are in the country, it's just to make sure that we have that mandate.
Councillor Bell.
I was just going to second Councillor Well.
Thank you. Councillor Toft.
May I just make a comment to this? If I was a councillor on Portland Council discussing this tonight, I would query why they had to match the same amount of money considering they're not small. That's the only thing that I think may come back to us. They may say it's not fair. But that's just an observation. Thank you.
Any other contributors? In that case, we've had a proposal and a second. We'll move to vote. All those in favour?
That is unanimous.
Absolutely. Good. And coming into land, information items, for you, actions from last meeting. Yeah.
Can we invite them?
Can we vote on that?
No.
Yeah.
We're ahead of you on that.
Yeah. I think I might keep talking. Hopefully joins us.
He's
So,
on route.
Okay, the rest are in.
yeah, so the rest are information items. We won't be debating or doing votes on them. Welcome back. So information items for you to look at. Forward plan for you to put in your diary. And with that, then thank you one all for going through this rather formal agenda. Let's see before.